Clinton City Council will please come to order. We'll begin tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Gassman.
Here.
Seeley.
Here.
McGraw.
Here.
Oder.
Here.
Connell.
Here.
O'Neill.
Here.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to dispense with the reading of the regular city council meeting and committee of the whole minutes of May 9th, 2017, and they be approved as published on May 23rd, 2017.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Oder.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move to public hearings, of which we have 6 tonight. So I will convene a public hearing concerning the conveyance of a gas pipeline easements to Interstate Power and Light Company. Have we had any comments in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address this public hearing? Hearing none, Councilmember Seeley.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that the public hearing concerning the conveyance of a gas line pipeline easement to Interstate Power and Light Company be entered into the record.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Oder.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Seeley.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution approving the grant of a gas pipeline easement, gas valve site easement to Interstate and Power and Light Company. I move this resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Oder.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Thank you. I will now convene a public hearing concerning the proposed sale of city-owned vacant lots, 617 3rd Avenue South. Have we heard any comments in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address this public hearing? Hearing none, Councilmember O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that a public hearing concerning the proposed sale of city-owned vacant lots at 617 3rd Avenue South be entered into the record.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Oder.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution accepting the bid and approving the sale of 617 3rd Avenue South to Ray Mitchell for $350.
Second.
Did you want to let him move to approve the resolution as read?
I move this resolution be approved as presented.
Second.
Okay, we now have a motion and a second.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Oder.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll now convene our 3rd public hearing concerning the proposed sale of city-owned vacant lots at 529 7th Avenue South. Have we had any comments in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor.
Anyone in the audience wish to address this public hearing? Hearing none, Councilmember Oder.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that the public hearing concerning the proposed sale of city-owned vacant lots 529 7th Avenue South be entered into the record.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have
Yes.
Councilmember Seeley?
Thank you, Your Honor. I was going through this, and I noticed that Bill Shocker was not the abutting property owner. It was actually Crystal Shocker, so I did a little research, and he actually does not own the property next door. And I guess my concern here is that when we discussed this before, we had decided that the non-conforming lots would be sold in the manner in which we're using right now to abutting property owners. And since he's not an abutting property owner, I'm not sure that this is the way we should be handling this specific one.
I think the way we said it too is they needed to be, if the abutting property owner, the way they're deeded, or where they're titled, and that's not the case here, I think is basically what we're getting at. Maybe his wife, we don't know that, and, I think we're just creating a problem, to be honest with you here, if we don't, do what we said we were gonna do on the cow.
We're gonna be discussing this more tonight, obviously, after this, so I think I would like to either, well, if anyone wants to discuss this, or I'd like to
Well-
maybe table this specific
Well,
one.
actually, you were on a motion to move the public hearing into record, so you're not tabling that because we just had the public hearing.
Okay,
So really, the discussion becomes next on the resolution, whether you want to accept the bid.
okay,
So, we really have to accept that there was a public hearing.
we can do that.
Okay. So is there any other discussion on, the accepting the public hearing into record? And then we'll have roll call on that, please.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Now we'll move to the resolution. Councilmember Odor?
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution accepting bid and approving the sale of 529 7th Avenue South to Bill Shocker for $100, and I move that it be adopted as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Now we can have discussion.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to propose that, could this be either tabled until we actually discuss in the cow how we're gonna handle the policy and procedures for these types of lots? Is that an option?
I'm gonna turn to the city attorney about.
Sure, it's an
Bill-
option.
Sure, it's an option, but, Bill Shocker, who is actually the deed holder of this property?
Crystal Shocker?
Adjacent to the property.
Okay, but Bill Shocker isn't?
Nope.
Okay,
And they're both 33-foot lots, so they're not actually within the
Yeah.
ordinance, so if
I think the issue here, as I see it, is he doesn't want to combine this for the purposes of taxes with the house, which I think one of our goals here is to bring houses into conformance with the zoning code. And combining this lot with the home site would allow it to have a 66-foot lot, which would meet the minimum 50 in this zoning district. And we're not achieving that, and we're also not selling it to an actual abutting property owner, even though he is, we think, married to her. He still does not own that adjoining property, so I think I would like to make a motion to table this until we discuss our policies and procedures at the cow.
okay. When do you have to table it to a point in time?
I will table it to the next meeting, if that's okay.
Yeah, tabling would not necessarily need a time, but if you are proposing to postpone to a date certain,
Well,
Would
that's
be-
different than tabling.
yeah, it is different, and I think that's what you mean to do, is postpone until the next
Can we
council
postpone
meeting.
it till we decide our policies and
Yes.
procedures?
You could actually have a motion to
Yes,
postpone this.
because we may not get those
If you-
resolved fully either tonight, so.
If you-
That's correct.
If you don't have a specific time that you wanna pull it off the table, I would recommend tabling it, and then the next time you wanna bring it back, you would move to take off the table the question of this particular
Or they
property.
could postpone it till after we have completed whatever cow discussion has been, accomplished.
It's a gray area as to whether you absolutely need to specify a meeting time, but I'm okay, I'm comfortable with after the policy is determined by the council.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Thank you, Your Honor. When we're talking about discussion on the cow, are all these gonna be in jeopardy that we're talking about? I thought,
No, this is.
I thought I know, but I thought, I thought we already had this set up, and I guess, if Crystal Shocker and Bill Shocker are married, then it's joint tenancy anyway, so it wouldn't really make a whole heck of a lot of difference, but, I think we're splitting hairs here. I'm not in favor of pulling one out and, have 7 public hearings and approve 6 of these and pull one out, so. That's
But,
just-
I mean, as a point of clarification, we all had agreed that it was good to do that, otherwise we're causing if they get divorced in 6 months, and we're sitting here now with 2 non-conforming lots, she wants to move, he wants to up and move out of town as well, what do we have left? And he's not gonna maintain that property just because it's a vacant lot, he's not living there.
And I think there's a lot of discussion behind the cow. The policy clearly reads that non-conforming lot can only be sold to an abutting property owner. So are we gonna follow the policy or not? So we need to go discuss that policy. This one doesn't comply with what's proposed right now, so it needs tabled. I'd like to table it until we get the policy determined, and then we can bring it back for discussion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to table, so we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
We'll move on to our next public hearing, which is, I'll convene a public hearing concerning the proposed sale of city-owned lots at 212 Second Avenue South. Have we had any comments in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address this public hearing? Hearing none, Councilmember Connell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that public hearing concerning the proposed sale of city-owned vacant lots, 212 Second Avenue South, be entered into the record.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Gassman,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Connell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution accepting bid and approving the sale of 212 Second Avenue South to John and Judy Prey for $100. I move the resolution be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Gassman,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Thank you. I will now convene a public hearing concerning the proposed sale of city-owned vacant lots, parcel 86-024-10001, lot 14. Have we had any comments in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor.
Anyone in the audience that wishes to address this public hearing? Hearing none, Councilmember Gassman.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that the public hearing concerning the proposed sale of city-owned vacant lots, parcel 86-0241001 lot 14, be entered into the record.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Gassman.
Your Honor, I have a resolution accepting bid and approving the sale of parcel 86-024-10001 lot 14 to Tim Marr for $350. I move this be adopted as read.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Thank you. I will now convene our final public hearing concerning the accepting bid and awarding contract for the City of Clinton Downtown Street Light Replacement Project T-2017. Have we had any comments in the clerk's
We
office?
have not, Your Honor.
Anyone in the audience wish to address this public hearing? Hearing none, Councilmember O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move the public hearing concerning accepting the bid and awarding the contract for City of Clinton Downtown Street Replacement Project T-2017 be entered into the record.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Councilmember O'Neill.
Did we budget for all this? And is it,
We actually budgeted for 800,000, but in Jason's note, we're gonna actually have some funds in another project that can shift over and cover down.
okay? So, it's over the budget. Do we need to replace all the streetlights in downtown all at once? Seriously?
Yeah, seriously, we do sorry. Good evening, Mayor Council, Jason Kraft, City Engineer. Yeah, I mean, they're all past due. We should have replaced them 10 years ago, quite honestly, and some of them are falling down. We were considering last year taking some down before they fell down. It's like, they're just all beyond repair, beyond replacement. So the only other option is to take them all down, and then instead of installing 85, only installing like 75, and then we can save like $50,000, do the project under budget. But then you just run the risk of some citizens complaining that there were once 6 streetlights on my block, and now there were once 8, and now there are only 6. And is that something that we want to do? I'm not sure, so I'll leave that up to you. I would recommend that we award the bids because I don't think we're going to get a better a better outcome if we would say rebid the project. It would in fact most definitely be a higher bid. The second bidder was $70,000 above this, and I just think if we rebid, you're gonna absorb some more costs, I think. So, one option, and I didn't present this to the prime contractor because I really wasn't, you're not allowed to negotiate. But one option would be awarding these bids and then approaching the prime contractor, Leslie Electric, to try to cut $54,000 out of the project, maybe cutting like 10 lights. And then we could always install the conduit, and maybe we could put those up at a later date if that's if that's something you might be interested in, Councilman O'Neill. But like City Administrator Matt Brooks said, we are $54,000 over budget, and that very coincidentally matches the amount we are under budget on West Deer Creek Road. The bids were just, and they were both out of general obligation bond funds, so it's a pretty easy switcheroo that can be made with those funds. And talking to Anita Dalton, Finance Director.
There's 85 lights in downtown?
Well, some of them have fallen over and nearly hit parked cars and things like that.
We've had a few near misses of people
Yeah.
being hit by them, yes.
There were some that were leaning, we took down, so there's only about 78 now, but it's our intention to put up the 85 that were once there in downtown. It'd be nice lights.
Very uniform too, to look good.
Yeah, they'll look very nice. I didn't bring
Are
a
they gonna be
photo
the
of
same
them.
design, Jason?
Not the
as
same
ones
design,
on
no,
Fifth
the
Avenue?
design was actually picked out by the Downtown Clinton Alliance Group.
Yep.
It's the same height pole. The head is not gonna be similar. The head will be more similar to the ones on Fifth Avenue. Those are kind of boxy. The new ones are more rounded and sleek looking, and we did pick the same color. So, yeah, they'll be nice, and they'll have the banner arms and the flag holders,
Above the banner
and
arms.
right in the plug-in receptacles on all the poles for the Christmas lights.
They're LED, obviously.
LED, obviously, and we'll put some extra conduits up through the pole for future, if we need to connect cameras, mount cameras, security
Wasn't
cameras
that
on
part
it.
of the additional cost, though?
No, that's not, we
No, we
just
took that out.
cut
Oh, we
that.
did take that out, okay.
We had that as a bid alternate, which we ended up, we could not afford that, and we didn't think it was a great price. So if we wanna do a downtown camera project or a fiber optic project at a later date, we can always do that. But
Now,
this
if
is
we
the
were to
base
do-
bid for
If we
$854.
were to do that, would those lights have to stay on all day?
No,
Okay.
no,
No,
not like the path.
no.
These are only $10,000 a piece to replace?
Well, yeah, there's no fuzzy math here, I assure you. The
I just don't think there's enough math.
It-
We're insuring streetlights for $250,000 a piece, right?
But those controllers that control the traffic signals, the controller cabinets themselves with all the computer equipment and plugs and all the bells and whistles that go along with that, if one of those gets hit, that's like $100,000 replacement. And Julie Bray, our insurance representative, can probably attest to that. So that's most the cost in installation, and when you put the traffic signal mast arms and poles that are so tall, and sometimes those arms stick out 40, 50 feet, you've got to drill sometimes 20-foot deep holes.
You're just replacing the light.
The street lights. $10,000 a light, and that includes removal of the old lights, hammering the top of the foundation down, constructing a sidewalk patch, boring all new conduit under all the sidewalks, and then installing a new light. Yeah, the new lights themselves are probably only $5,000 a piece for one light, one street light. Yeah, this is all. Yeah, the bid here was for all inclusive, all new work. I mean, from the power line to the pole, all new, everything, and it'll last, a lifetime.
It's gonna be done by fall.
I think if it's done by before winter is the contract period.
That's fall.
Right, by fall, but I don't want to be careful with that.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion on approving the public hearing and accepting it into the record? Hearing none, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gasser.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution accepting the bid and awarding the contract to Leslie Electric for project T-2017, the downtown streetlight replacement program for $854,848. I move this resolution be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gaston.
Yep.
Thank you. That concludes our public hearings for tonight. We'll move to audience comment. I have no one that's turned in a slip, but I will ask if there's anyone in the audience that wishes to address the council tonight. Hearing none, we'll move to the consent agenda. Councilmember O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move the consent agenda be approved as presented on the attachment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Councilmember O'Neill.
Number 8.
Anyone else? Okay, could we have a roll call vote on the balance of the consent agenda, please?
Councilmember McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gaston, Seeley.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move to motions, resolutions, and ordinances. Councilmember Gassman.
Your Honor, I have a motion that the claims we receive, approve, and place them on file.
Second?
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gaston,
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Seeley.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move the council consider an ordinance for the first time.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gaston,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Thank you.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Clinton, Iowa by amending provisions pertaining to fireworks. I move the rules be suspended and the council consider an ordinance for the second time.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Can we have some clarification on 3 readings for tonight and why this is an expedited process here?
I can, the effective date of the new state law is June 1, and it was considered important, for the council to take some action with respect to the sale of fireworks in the city of Clinton prior to that date, to make sure that the public was aware that we were cognizant of the fact it's now legal to sell a broader class of fireworks in Iowa than previous. And so we think it's prudent that the council take some action. This ordinance is not a comprehensive ordinance by any stretch, but it does acknowledge that it's now legal to sell fireworks in the city of Clinton, subject to a rather stringent set of architectural rules, I guess, or overlying set of rules, including NFPA standard 1124, which Chief Brown knows a lot more about than I do, but that's basically a safety standard that the legislature enacted, which will be applicable to fireworks sales in Iowa, licensing by the state fire marshal, regulations of the state fire marshal, and all these things are incorporated by reference in this ordinance you have in front of you, which just basically states that if you're going to sell fireworks in the city of Clinton, you need to be cognizant of the new state law, and the city is and will enforce the new state law. At a later date, we will probably bring forth to you for your consideration a full ordinance that will adopt much more elaborate measures with regard to sale that'll be more, I guess, that will spell out in greater detail how everything has to work. But for now, this will give us something to work with. It does not, I say again, it does not affect the use of fireworks in the city. We're staying with the status quo for now under this wording. The council, I think, at a future committee of the whole in the near future, needs to consider whether it wants to legalize to some degree the use of fireworks. Some cities are doing that based on dates. Certain dates of the year you can shoot off fireworks in the city, and as long as you're not violating zoning rules or anything like that that might restrict that, or fire codes or something like that. But for now, it doesn't affect the status quo, and I don't know if the mayor has any other comments on that, but I know that the mayor's aware that there's certain things that are going on at the state fire marshal's office that haven't yet transpired, so.
They haven't formulated all the rules yet, so Basically, this is just a stopgap measure that we're in compliance then with the state code that allows the sale.
Yep.
We will have a discussion later if we want to actually allow fireworks to be discharged, but, you know, June first, this is our last meeting between now and June first in order to amend the ordinance, otherwise it would not be done, then technically, we're in violation of the state code.
Exactly. And I read that and I understood it all. I just thought clarification
Yeah.
for the folks at
Yeah.
home was good.
Yeah, for the folks at home, our current ordinance is preempted by the new law and it has to be changed, and so we don't really have a choice to do
Okay.
anything other than what we're doing. I don't know if Chief Brown has any other comments in addition, but
I think the big piece for the folks at home is that in order to come in to even discuss with the city clerk the ability to sell, you need to have a permit, which that permit process from the state of Iowa has not yet begun.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, that was my thought, and I thought that was correct, but I distinctly remember seeing in the paper this week an ad for people to apply to become a fireworks peddler, and from a wholesaler, obviously from someplace, and they want somebody to be like the distributor here. And so my thought was, I either missed a meeting or you guys met without me.
No,
Well, I
that's
mean,
someone advertising.
Yeah.
that
It is.
yeah.
But that person has to show up with a permit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they can't be on the streets of Clinton or, you know, in a vacant lot or in a
Well,
grocery parking lot.
Yeah,
you
I
know, so-
question the fact that a distributor can preempt doing anything before we even have a law to ask for distributors.
They're
is
not
him and-
selling it yet.
Okay, yeah, that's true, but it's giving the public kind of a,
We've had a lot of calls actually
yeah,
to the
they're
city
getting
hall.
a distorted picture that, you know, we're gonna have a circus tent next to Hy-Vee and another circus tent down at the park, and they're gonna be selling fireworks, and all you have to do is just call this guy in, I think it was Missouri or Kentucky, and say, I wanna be one of your distributors, and I'm pretty sure that's not the case. I think he agrees with me too.
Yeah,
You know, the
Mike
sale
is-
is one thing, but and now it's gonna be legalized and we're coming up on a very large holiday, and you think this body's actually gonna get rules in place before that holiday? Now, all the citizens using fireworks were legalized by the state are gonna be out there lighting them off, and Chief's gonna send all of his guys out and write these guys tickets? I mean, to me, it seems they're legalized, you know, we need to get working on firming that up, but why can't we just, you know, let that go forward and keep the sale portion, you know, in part with the state's law?
To clarify that, that's true that that the legislature has legalized fireworks in the state, but the new law expressly allows municipalities to restrict discharge, as we always have. The only thing that we're really not at liberty to completely restrict is the sale. So by taking this action, you're saying we elect, at least for now, until we have a further discussion about discharge in the city, we're gonna stick with the status quo. And the chief, I think, is concerned probably about both use, discharge, and sale. If it's done right, it can be done safely, I suppose, but we have to have a discussion about that.
Chief, would you like to weigh in now?
Sure. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mike Brown, Fire Chief. To address Councilman O'Neill's comment, those ads were in the Des Moines Register weeks before the legislature had passed it and our governor had signed it into law. So these people already knew this was gonna happen. I don't know how, but, so that said, it's going forward. Our state fire marshal promised us that by the 22nd of May, yesterday, that we would have a rough draft of rules in place. It hasn't happened. So we're 7 days away. There are no rules. We're getting calls daily from guys that just say, hey, I want to sell fireworks. And I ask them, you know, what do you know about NFPA 1124? Nothing. And those are the people we're going to have to deal with. I think the professional people that do it, they should be easy to deal with. They'll come in and, you know, they know what they're doing. But it's the ones that just answer an ad in the paper, they're going to be difficult to deal with. So we're going to have to provide electrical inspection, zoning inspection, fire code inspection at least twice. Now the state says if we don't want to do it, they'll do it. But they can't even get the law written, so, that's where we're at. I think this is a great measure at this point, and then I think we're gonna have to fine tune it when that time comes.
I was gonna say, I think the part about allowing the use of fireworks, that's a whole different discussion, because I think the public needs to weigh in on that, whether
Mhm.
they want it or they don't want it. It's not just for 7 people to make that decision, so that's nothing that has to be decided overnight.
No, I do know some municipalities have elected to allow it, but they've shortened the time that the state put in. So they said, June 30th till July 8th. Give them an 8-day window to let her rip and call it good. Some have just exempted out the Christmas holiday one. Just said, no, we're not gonna do them in the winter. So those are options we can look at, or we should look at. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what the public says.
I guess the question I would have as well is, I mean, if you're looking at restricting use or non-restrictive use at this point, sale, restrict that, like to be in compliance, but a non-restrictive use, I'm sure the police department could still write a ticket, right, for nuisance or noise ordinance or any other type of violation, right?
I would, I'm sure the police department has
State laws.
an opinion on that, but, I know we can't, as the fire department, go out and write citations for nuisance and noise.
But if we
all that.
just become in compliance with the state's law for allowing the use, and somebody say at 4 in the morning you're shooting them off, and it's just
No, we're
getting,
not- no,
can
no,
they
no,
not?
No,
use.
state law allows for sale.
Sale, we're not allowing use.
It's illegal to shoot off fireworks in the city
Yeah.
of Clinton.
Yeah, the ordinance isn't changing.
talking down the road here.
Oh, but we're talking about right now.
Correct,
Yeah.
I get that, but
Okay.
it's now gonna be legalized by the state.
No, it isn't.
Not to shoot 'em
We
off.
don't have to allow the discharge, even in the future, of the use of fireworks within the city. We don't have to allow it, but we have to allow the sale.
Theoretically, we could sell 40% of the fireworks in the state of Iowa, but we could still restrict, you can't shoot
Right,
them off.
we don't
I'm
have,
not saying we
there's
will.
nothing that mandates us to allow the use of the fireworks from the state.
And that's for further discussion though, like other cities have done, the June 30th example to
Correct.
July 8th, but we wanna get this out right now because our biggest issue right now is not folks firing them off, is ensuring that those little tents don't start on fire and then all the stuff they have in there blow up. So we wanna really leverage the fire department, their ability to go and check on these vendors. If we're gonna make it available, make it safe and make it friendly, make it useful. And then we're gonna come back to you here real soon, at a cow and discuss the actual use of them.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Okay, so were you at the motion to suspend the rules, or did we?
We are at roll call.
Roll call. Okay.
Councilmember Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Sealy.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
You need to
wait a
read
minute, I
that.
need to read it.
You
Okay,
need to
an
read the
ordinance
title.
amending the code of ordinances of the city of Clinton, Iowa by amending provisions pertaining to fireworks. I move the rules be suspended and the council consider an ordinance for the 3rd time.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Sealy.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Thank you.
An ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Clinton, Iowa by amending provisions pertaining to fireworks. I move the rules be suspended and the ordinance under consideration be placed on its final passage and adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any final discussion? Hearing none, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Sealy.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Odor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution urging the United States Attorney General to fully exempt the Federal Bureau of Prisons from the federal government hiring freeze. I move that it be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Sealy.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Councilmember McGraw.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution directing the sale of $10,375,000, parentheses, subject to adjustment per terms of offering, parentheses, General Obligation Capital Loan Notes, Series 2017B. I move that the resolution be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I've had a few comments from
Okay.
people that wanted to know why it was so much. They're not used to a $10 million one, and some of the answer to that was we combined several of them to get a better bang for our buck, and I don't know if somebody wants to explain that. And the other comment was, is any of the money being spent gonna take longer to pay off long after the asset's gone?
The good news is the sewer system will be here for quite a while.
Good evening, council and mayor. So PFM facilitated the sale this morning of the bonds. Sometimes they come and present, but I've always thought that a 3-hour drive for a 10-minute presentation was kind of a waste of time. So there is a memo at your seat tonight regarding the sale. They had 4 bidders, with the represented kind of a syndicate of 38 firms. It came in, with Raymond James and Associates from St. Petersburg, Florida, being the lowest bidder with a true interest cost of 3.0098%. To address what Councilperson Gassman said, this is a larger borrowing than what we normally do, but we usually do 2 that would equal $2 million. We combined them. There's $4.6 million in this borrowing for some sewer projects, and then the rest is our normal fall CIP borrowing. We save money doing it that way. We would have had to do a non-bank qualified loan even if we had done 2, because it would have been over $10 million in a 1-year term. The rate actually came in, the 3.0098% came in lower than what PFM was projecting, given that it was a non-bank qualified, and it was about 0.87 basis points lower. So, to address your question about if the bond would take longer to pay off than some of the assets are going to last, I do have the listing here, but really the only thing in here that is more expendable is the 2 police vehicles, and we built up the payoff for the first 3 years to include those being paid off in advance of the other items in the bond. But these are $4.1 million from the CIP process that also includes the $800,000 for the streetlights that Jason talked about earlier, and $2.2 million of that being resurfacing of streets in the pavement management program. There's a fire truck for $760,000. There's a lot of park equipment that totals $307,000. There's $100,000 to put into the building nuisance removal fund, and then the $4.6 million for the 25th Avenue North and First Avenue pumping station projects that the engineering department has slated to begin July 1st.
Any other questions of Anita?
Thanks, Anita.
Thank you. Not hearing any other discussion, could we have roll call then, please?
Councilmember Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Connell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution waiving 5% increase on sewer connection fees with the 18th Street Connection Fee District. I move this resolution be adopted as presented.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Councilmember O'Neill?
I guess my question is, why are we waiving them and where's waiving them at?
Okay, so this is gonna be, almost at the end of 18th Street. It's gonna be, $1,600 was the price, 1980s price. And so now it'd be $5,400 to be able to hook into sewer. And we just don't think that's reasonable, and we thought, as you all at the council would understand that, this person's it's one house that's going in there, and $5,400 just seems really extreme to put in for a sewer.
One house, where?
It's on 18th Street on the very last spot.
2 houses.
Oh, is it 2?
Yeah.
All I wanna say is that there are 2 houses, and they
Oh, 2.
both approached us for connection fees.
Jason, you want to move over to the microphone?
Jason Kraft, city engineer. Yeah, they both approached us, so do we need a permit to connect? And I said, hey, there's this connection fee district, and they're like, sticker shock, $5,500, 5% increase over whatever it's been, 30 years almost, 25 years. So we looked at the ordinances. We think the original intent of the ordinance was to compel those that already had developed lots to connect at that time in 1992, and not to charge people 25 years later an exorbitant fee. So
So does this just need to go away?
that's what this ordinance does. It
Okay.
waives the interest rate. Not interest rate, raise the compounding increase.
So what's the
yearly interest
standard
rate.
connection fee?
Nothing.
There, okay.
Yeah.
So are
This
they
is
gonna
a
have to pay anything?
1,600.
To the road.
They'll still have to pay
Yeah,
1,600?
A standard connection fee for this particular area is 1,600. I think a group of residents petitioned the city to build them a sewer in 1992. The city constructed a sewer, and instead of assessing to the property taxes, they charged a connection fee, set up a connection fee district. And this is one of only 2 or 3 of those in the whole city.
I think a little bit
Yeah,
more
urban
history, a little bit more history to that. Originally, South 18th Street was not part of the city limits of Clinton, and there were houses built out there, and they were all on septic.
Yeah.
And then as the town moved out and we developed South 18th Street,
Yeah.
some of the septics began to fail, and naturally, we as a community, we started to develop a sewer out there. There was an incentive, because I remember when that came about, that the incentive was that connect now, or if you don't connect and you wait till later, there would be a higher fee. That was the reason why it increased.
Okay.
They wanted everybody to buy in at the initial part. I'm not sure at the time there was really any thought given that North 18th Street would ever develop, because there really wasn't a road up that way. You know, Paul, I think you remember, I don't think they went through it one time.
No, well, you're right.
Yeah.
The whole idea was get everybody to connect,
Yeah.
because we went through an expense to put the thing in,
Right.
the pipe out there. Please connect to it, and if you
Yeah.
don't, pay a penalty.
And,
later.
and the North 18th Street is actually developed with the housing, so, you know, but now 20-some years later, it is like we're penalizing somebody that,
To hook into our sewer, which is what we want. So
Right.
should they even be paying a $1,600 fee?
Our thought was on that, Councilman Seeley, that it wouldn't be good to have free connections given everyone in the neighborhood paid $1,600, and I think they're amenable to that $1,600 fee within that district. It might be setting a weird precedent to just go back to nothing. So that was our thought. They're within the connection fee district. There just weren't homes or plotted lots. These were just vacant lots, outlots, if you will, back in the day. So I believe, and that's, again, it's your call, but our recommendation was just the $1,600
Maybe
fee.
this is that could be a discussion
Right.
for a cow sometime or something.
Right.
We have other districts like this?
There's a couple of them, yeah. Mhm.
Interesting.
well, it might even be a discussion if you're going to maintain, that take away the 5% and just leave it locked at $1,600.
Yeah, and how we wanna handle them.
Yeah, so I think that it would
We
be,
could add that into a cow sometime.
I think maybe you should gather all the connection districts and,
Yeah.
'cause some of them been around for a long time. Councilmember O'Neill?
Thank you, Your Honor. Does this affect or reduce the amount for the expansion south of Mill Creek Crossing? If he comes south, if he comes south towards where the high school builds, is that gonna be a reduction in his sewer connection?
I'm not following you.
I guess I don't understand.
This is North 18th Street, correct?
North 18th Street, who are you talking about connecting?
The rest of Mill Creek on the south end going toward,
You mean Dan Dolan's
yeah,
development?
Mill Creek.
Oh,
Is he paying a connection fee?
Everyone's, no, I think they paid a connection fee when they first connected back in 2008 or
one-time
So
something
this
like
is
that.
only dwellings physically on 18th Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, correct, and the River King Road and the Mill Creek Crossing development, they will have no future connections. One's on the west side of the road. The only other connection on the west side of the road would be Ron Fletcher's Saddle Ridge. Other than that, I think it's closed books on this connection fee district. These are just two outstanding outlots that were in the district, but they were not listed as they will pay. And in fact, the cities, there's some history there where the cities, people that overpaid or did pay that 5% increase per year, the city actually reimbursed them
Okay.
back in the early 2000s, I think. So there's some precedent set to give people the $1,600 break if they weren't part of the original. You know, they just bought these lots. Like, it's kind of to spring a $5,000 bill on somebody.
Kind of a
So.
surprise, isn't it?
And they're both happy to pay the $1,600 though.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's it.
Any other discussion? Could we have roll call then, please?
Councilmember Gasman?
Yep.
Seeley?
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution updating the write-off limit of sewer and solid waste charges. I move this resolution be adopted as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Gassman.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a resolution accepting bid and awarding contract to BWC Excavating for project M-2017 20th Avenue North Combined Sanitary Trunk to Lift Station for $360,673.50. I move this be adopted as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Odor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution authorizing removal of traffic control signals and implementation of a two-way stop at the intersection of South Third Street and Fourth Avenue South. And I move that it be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Connell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution authorizing installation of stop sign for southbound traffic at the intersection of North 7th Street and 17th Avenue North. I move this resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Can't we just take the light from the previous one? Move
Oh, it's
over to
not
this
that
one?
easy. This is government work.
Okay. All right.
Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Gassman.
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember McGraw.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution approving appointees as liaison to the Lions Business and Technology Park Board. I move that the resolution be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Seeley,
Abstain.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor.
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes our motions, resolutions, and ordinances for tonight. We'll move to unfinished business. We do have one item, and the item is number 8. Councilmember O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to pull this letter out from the consent agenda. It's from ICAP, which is our pool insurer, and since we've had a lot of discussion about it, I think it's important for the community to know, that there is some good stuff that comes along. It reads, for the 25th consecutive year, the ICAP Board of Directors has approved the property casual credits to ICAP members that have fully funded their cumulative reserve funds. This program, the CFR Return, is in addition to the CFR Refund Program, which is entering its 11th year. The ICAP Board is of the opinion that the CRF program, which will benefit 754 Iowa public entities this year, is evidence not only of the strength and viability of ICAP program, but also of the committed loss control efforts of our members. It's made possible because you, our members, your commitment to the program and to its overall loss experience and financial condition make it more stable pool and consequently enable us to continue to give back. This year, ICAP will return $3,700,000 to ICAP members. The City of Clinton any entity alone will receive $58,984.73 in the form of a credit voucher on their new premium. This will be deducted from your invoiced annual contribution and the return voucher to our office when you remit your contribution payment. Please contact your ICAP underwriter if you have any questions or require the assistance. We appreciate your support and continued participation in the pool. We always recommend that your feedback regarding the services and offerings ICAP affords. If at any time the board can be of any assistance to your entity, please let us know. So it's basically $58,000 back on our premium that we paid last year. And so, again, it's a benefit of being in that ICAP pool. I just wanted to bring that out.
Would you like to move to?
Oh, I don't, So I'll move that we adopt this resolution as presented under the
Second.
attachment.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gasman.
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes our unfinished business for tonight. Councilmember O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that we adjourn to 7 PM on June 6, 2017.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is June sixth the correct date?
Yeah.
Okay. Could we have roll
It's
call?
the 5 Tuesday month.
But that's not the first council meeting, is it?
That's the cap.
That's the count, okay. Never mind, I'm having a brain failure for the, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gasman.
Thank you. We are adjourned, and we will move immediately into the Clinton City Council Committee of the Whole for May 23rd. And as soon as our city clerk is ready, we will have roll call and we'll begin.
Councilmember Gasman.
Here.
Seeley,
Here.
McGraw,
Here.
Odor,
Here.
Connell,
Here.
O'Neill.
Here.
Thank you. Our first item tonight is the diffuser replacement for the aerobic digesters. Bob Milroy.
I just like when you say that.
Good evening, Bob Milroy, Water Quality Superintendent. I've been wanting to do this since I became superintendent. This is a
To announce yourself?
well, no, this is a project I've been working on from the get-go. You know, when the treatment plant was first built, they put coarse bubble diffusers into the digesters. And when we first started up, we were running 3 blowers, all 4 digesters in service. And we don't need to run them that way. Currently, I'm running 2 digesters with 1 blower. But what I want to be able to do is just run the 1 blower 9 hours a day.
Sort of like streetlights.
Yes. And shut the other blower off for the other 16 hours out of the day. And 15 hours, I'm sorry. And I haven't been able to do that with the current diffusers that were in there because they kept plugging up every time the blower would shut off. Then we'd have to spend a couple $1,000s getting them cleaned out and all that kind of thing. So I've been experimenting with different diffusers, and I've had a couple, it's been on my monthly or weekly report for years, it seems like. You know, I'd get a diffuser, they guarantee not to plug. 2 months later, they'd plug. Well, the manufacturer has given me 1 set of diffusers, and we've been trying it on the number 3 digester for 6 months. And it's been shut off every single night and no plugging issues at all. So what I'm asking the council to do is I'd like to be able to retrofit the other 3 digesters. And the cost to do that is $56,500. And the estimated savings, you know, I've talked to Dave DeChant, and he didn't include a memo in the packet, and it's roughly an estimate $40-some thousand a year savings. Now, the good news I have for you, I just got the word from the council from Alliant Energy yesterday, and they're gonna give us an estimated incentive, as they put it, $28,500 towards this project. So that's more than 50% of the cost of the diffusers. The diffuser cost is $56,500.
When you're talking diffusers and digesters, and I've been out there, but I can't remember what room or what so are these something that you gotta replace continually, or do these last a long time?
They should last 15 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like a filter?
No.
Okay.
No, we should drain the tanks once a year and hose them off,
Okay.
or is the only preventive maintenance on them. And this is also something our guys should be able to install on their own. I might have a little bit of guidance there to make sure we do it right, but the funding for this would come out of the EPA Equipment Replacement Fund 531. And there's currently $392,968 in that fund. So after we spend the 56.5 and we get the 28, it's roughly gonna be 28,000 and change that would come out of there.
Does that rebate go back to that fund, Anita? Okay.
And what we're asking tonight is for you to approve us to take it out of that fund and move it forward.
One more question. When you have to shut things down and you're only running fans part-time and whatever's going on, is it harder on other systems when you're doing that,
No.
or? No?
No, and that was a question I asked. Is it gonna be hard on the blowers to shut them off continuous on a regular basis like that? And, the manufacturer says no. As long as it's, you know, if it's 10 times, 20 times a day, yes.
Yeah.
But coming on, or shutting them off once a day and coming back on, it should have no effect on that equipment at all.
Okay. Can you run them when electricity's at the lower price? Isn't electricity less at night than it is during the day?
You know, you're getting into something.
All right, never
That peak, you know, there's demand charges.
No violence here.
Don't throw it at me. There's demand charges and all those kinds of things that.
Yeah, that's what I was-
It's really complicated to figure all that out, and I don't
All right.
claim to fully understand that.
Okay, thank you.
I think, what you're thinking of is some plants in town actually have periods where they get credits for not
Yeah.
running, but they actually have to shut down during peak times.
Oh, okay.
And,
okay.
'cause I know Custom Pack is one of them, that they actually will shut down in the middle of the day if they're, if they're the peak alert, but then they get a reimbursement from Alliant for doing that, but
Yep.
I'm not sure that we can actually be on that type of, arrangement where we're just gonna shut the plant down.
Yeah.
Well, and we pretty much have to run these blowers during the day because the guys have to take a sample
Oh, okay.
and take readings of those digesters. And the readings wouldn't be accurate if there was no air going to the digesters at the time.
I was just curious.
So is there a motion to move this forward, or is there any other discussion?
I'll move it forward, Your Honor.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So do we have any other questions of Bob?
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Could we have roll call then, please?
Councilmember McGraw,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gasman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Thank you. Our next item is the DOT lease. Matt?
Sure, so Department of Transportation, they actually perform their CDL testing in the west parking lot of the Lumber Kings, Stadium. And they have heavy equipment that drives in there, and of course it breaks it up, so we thought we'd reach out to DOT in Des Moines. We negotiated and we got to, $1,000 a month. Ran this through Lynch Dallas as far as making sure it was all legal, and wanted to get it to you guys to get your approval to move it forward to a council meeting to set up this lease with the Iowa DOT for $1,000 per month for $12,000 per year. To perform their
3 years
CDL
or
testing.
2 years, right?
Yes, for at least 2 years while they're
25
still-
months, I think it was,
Yep.
or something like that.
Was Ted Turno discussed in that? Ted Turno?
They on board?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was actually on board for a lot more, so, yeah. Yeah.
Matt, I have a question. Should the lease, and then I'm just thinking, cause you mentioned that it's ruining the pavement and stuff, should the lease not so much revolve around a monthly payment, but rather maintaining or replacing that parking lot? Because $1,000 a month isn't gonna come close to what it's gonna cost to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so the reason we did 2 years is several parts. One is they're currently leasing their building downtown for at least 2 more years. And
Okay.
so we're actually working with them to find an alternate location for both, not only where you get your driver's license, but talking out of turn a little bit here, but then also where you do CDL and motorcycle would be a combined location
Oh, okay.
on a footprint that they would be at.
Okay.
And so the reason we came to $1,000 is the fixes that we need to do are manageable within that range of $12,000 a year. And yes, it's gonna cost a lot more to do the entire parking lot, but once we do the entire parking lot, if that's before 2 years, then we're gonna shift them somewhere else as well.
I
And
understand.
no longer have
Perfect.
them there.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they won't be there after the parking lot is resurfaced.
Okay. Alright. Very good.
And you're wondering how we came to this number, just curious. So they have between 20 and 30 a month, and so we figured basically, we came up with $50, per vehicle that comes in there to drive with the 20, average of 20, so that's where we came up with the dollar amount, so.
Okay.
My amount was higher too, but I was shot down. Ted's amount.
Ted
was-
wanted 40 grand a year, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, mine was about half of
Yeah.
that, so we compromised on an amount with them. They normally don't pay very much, so it's actually, they hadn't paid for years. They've never paid, so it's actually, I think it's an improvement that we're gonna get some money out of them to help cover the cost of replacing that lot down there.
And they're gonna back pay us for all the other years?
That's my next task.
Yeah, that's another, that's an item to be
And
discussed
DOT
later.
leaves town.
Don't let him fall out of bed when he's dreaming.
So do we have a motion to move that lease forward to the next council meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Could we have a roll call then, please?
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Gasman.
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Oder,
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Thank you. Our next item is the policy for disposition of city-owned properties. Matt?
Yeah, and thank you, council members, much. I got a lot of good feedback back. This is still, the reason we lined this up with the public hearings tonight is really what we're calling phase 0, and that was the vacant lots or city-owned vacant lots that are next to an abutting owner that was interested. So Steve Leitinger and I talked for quite a while for Lynch Dallas. He has this in his hands, but we're still working through because this is the easier of all the parts. As we start to move to what we'll call phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, as you guys noted tonight, it got a little more difficult when all of a sudden, you know, the wife of somebody that's buying it is not adjacent to the lot, et cetera. So I wanted to get this in your hands as a draft. It's no hurry to move it to the next one, but I want you to get your guys' guidance and direction, what your issues with it is, so we can start to mold that and bring forth to you probably in either another cow or at least just agree tonight to have this move forward as only the policy for phase 0 city-owned vacant lots.
Well, I think Cedar Rapids, I went to a seminar a couple years ago. Cedar Rapids had a different kind of approach where they offered the person that owned the building, the property that we always tear down, they offer them money to tear it down. And when they tear it down privately, it costs less than when a city has to do it. And they can do it more easily than the city with all the different rules we have to follow. And so they were quite successful in getting a lot of the properties demolished for a lot less by having a program like that. So I could probably look that up for you, but it was a good way to go.
Yeah, because we felt this one was really good for just the beginning of the process. You know, it gets even more complicated when we get to the part of where, you know, we're talking about liens on properties as well. So, Councilmember O'Neill?
Yeah, you know, since we're at the ground zero at the base of it, I think Councilman Seeley does have a good point. If we just keep it simple, you either own it adjacent to it or you don't.
Yeah.
And I don't wanna pick out one guy or one particular sale, but I'd rather do it with this sale, and like I said, it does have a good point, and that way we won't, if we do it, let this one go, it can just get broader and broader, and luckily we only have one, and so he's got a good point. If we just keep it, you either own it next door or you can't buy it.
Yeah, and we did address that with Mr. Shocker as well. We said, hey, you know, your wife owns a property of 33 feet, this one's 33 feet. We'll allow you to move forward on this if you combine them together. And he said, no, I want to keep them separate. So we let him know that probably wouldn't be a good turnout, you know, a good response from the council members. So
That's fine, but it makes one thing hard and the rest easy.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the point, yeah.
So really, that's what we're just looking for is a motion either to continue this, to put this in a bigger document, or a motion to move it forward and keep it as it is, what we're calling phase 0, which is controlling just city-owned vacant lots that are adjacent to folks that are interested in buying, and leave it at that, and then we can always do an amendment for the other parts that come along.
So are we gonna move this forward, this document?
Yeah, that's my question to you.
You don't have to, if you want, if you have more input that you wanna have done.
I have, if you got a pen with a lot of ink, I got,
Well, and that's great, because what we can do is we can just get together and go through
Yeah.
those, and then we can bring it back. We're not in a hurry, because what we're doing is everything that you've given us guidance and direction, and also the BNS to do, but we just wanna make sure we stay objective as we move forward.
Yeah, there is no timetable that we have to have this done by next week or
Yeah.
in 2 weeks, so.
I mean, I would like a process in place. I think it's good that we have, but, and we also know things are circumstantial, so, I think there's a lot of subjective things within this policy that could be interpreted a whole lot of different ways. A couple things I'll point out that concern me the most. The 50-foot doesn't necessarily constitute a lot that's not buildable. In R2, 40 foot's buildable. So there's minimum lot area. So you could have a 50-foot by 50-foot lot that isn't buildable in R1C, right? But then it might be in R2. So I think the thing here is we want to distinguish between a lot that's in conformance with zoning code or not in conformance.
Maybe
And
phrasing it is to tied to the zoning as opposed to
Yes,
specific numbers.
exactly. And then the reason I think that's important too, because I think we're possibly going to be reviewing our zoning.
We are.
And I know like in Cedar Rapids, a 25-foot wide lot you can build on. So there may be things that change where we don't have to go back and change this and say, oh, now it's 45 foot, you know?
No, but
so-
simple verbiage should be able to, and in conformance with
Yeah.
Zoning code.
zoning code.
Yeah. And there's minimum setbacks, there's minimum, lot area requirements per each different district. So that's one thing I noticed. Oh, well, we'll talk on it. I was concerned about the assessed value stuff.
Yeah,
I think
which
when
I was
any-
anxious tonight too, because I had those all printed out, because we really haven't talked that as far as what the bids were compared to what the actual assessed values were.
Yeah.
Understanding some of these were unique, because like the dog run, he actually paid more than the rest, and he's just gonna
Yeah.
have his dogs on it, but that's also very, very important how we bring this to fruition, because
Yeah.
one argument can be said is if it's a higher assessed value and they get it, then there's some more taxes they could pay, but also is why are they paying so less for an assessed property,
Yeah.
especially if we have prime time real estate that's somewhere located in the city.
Well, it'll be assessed for what it's
Yeah.
worth, and, most of the situations where we have these properties that we're going to be conveying, they're not going to be in that
Yeah.
condition of which is typical of, an average condition or assessed value, so it's more than likely that's not gonna.
And this doesn't
apply.
address the fact that we could actually get an assessed piece of property and actually sell it like a real estate person would.
Yeah, it's
versus
a
doing
non-typical transaction. I
Yes.
mean, when you look at something like that, they're
Yeah.
not using your typical comp.
And we just don't have that in there
Yeah.
yet as far as the stuff we have, so. I think we go slow to go fast later. Lynch Dallas has been great. We're gonna continue to work with them. We're continuing borrowing, as we saw Polk in there, we borrowed this from the Des Moines area. But we wanna borrow from there because the good thing is we have a clean, canvas that we can start. And what we wanna do is not go too slow, but at the same time go slow enough so you guys all come together and agree and put together a really good program and policy, so what we can do with, our city-owned properties.
Mm-hmm.
Any other input? This is one of those topics that'll be
Right.
continued at another day.
Yeah, and I saw something in there about land banks, which
Yeah.
are kinda complicated.
Yeah, that was a big city thing too, that we
yeah.
left for now in the draft, and we were like, we don't know
Yeah.
if we really wanna have that. We did talk a little bit, not to scare anybody, we did talk about the fact we wanna have some literature in there that talks about homeless and that works with the folks, cause there's a lot of great groups in town that are, looking at the issue of homelessness, and where some areas that if the city owns some stuff that's maybe not downtown or, and around, we could get to where we could actually, have a program set up to where we could sell them at a discount that land, and they might put,
Repurpose it for
yeah.
a better cause.
Because we do have a lot of folks under the bridges and stuff that we could actually move into, even if it's a tiny house at some point. We've even talked about that with the homeless folks, is, the commissions on, basically, we get some non-standard lots that are in a certain area of town. We could actually put some, several communities have done this where they've had 50 tiny homes, and then they've had a community center. You get to stay there for 2 years, but there's things you have to do while you're there. You're checking in, you're making sure you're staying clean, but you're getting educated, you're putting your resume together. There's a lot of stuff we could do based on some of the properties that the city currently owns that could be really a great thing for the city. But we just gotta get it slow for that. We gotta make sure we get it correct on there. And thank you, guys.
So, any other input? Okay, so we'll look forward to seeing that again. Okay, we're down to mayor council updates. I do have a couple items tonight. First thing, hasn't been officially announced yet, but I'm gonna give you an advance notice. The CCDA, did award the city of Clinton $200,000 toward the soccer fields and our request and their funding from their grant. And there was $200,000 awarded to the Friends of Riverview Stadium for the request for improvements to Ashford University Field. So, that was $400,000 between those two projects, so.
That's awesome.
That's big news. They will be having a formal announcement, but I was given a little heads up that we could announce that and bring it up.
And that's matching, correct?
That's matching, so that, we're
ready. We
we're
have that.
committed to spending 200, the Lumber Kings are committed to spending actually over 200 on their project that they've got, so. And there's quite a few improvements that they wanna make down there. I did wanna make a comment about the resolution that was on tonight's agenda that was kind of on a short notice. It was an amendment for the requesting for the exemption for the Thompson Prison. The Thompson Prison is currently at a standstill. It will be ready to open approximately September, October, but there's no hiring going on because there's a federal wage hiring freeze, and law enforcement is eligible for an exemption in that hiring freeze, but the Attorney General has not issued any type of exemption, so there's no hiring going on, there's no training going on for the future employees of the prison. The cities along the Illinois side and the counties over there and their bi-state development region and quite a few of them have all put together a consortium of resolutions and formal requests to go to Washington with this, and they asked Clinton to participate because we're the largest city actually in the group, even though we're in Iowa. And basically I'm going to be presenting these same items to Senator Grassley and Senator Ernst and Congressman Loebsack, because we need to get the prison staffed. We actually have a prison that'll soon be ready to open, but there's no staffing for it. And so, you know, it's another one of those hang-ups that seem to always be another delay, and I want to try to avoid. We've got a few more months here. I want to try to avoid that. So that was the reason why it was on the agenda kind of in a short notice, because they wanted to do this within the next week, and we don't have a council meeting, an actual formal council meeting until the 13th of June. So we would not have been able to participate. So that's the reason why that's on the agenda for tonight, which I would thank the council for approving. And with that, I will turn it over to the rest of the council if anyone has anything.
Just two things, not the council, but city administrator, is I thought this was pretty neat. I actually called the historical folks in Des Moines today, but the Roosevelt Apartments actually received the $393,812 for the tax credit for historical buildings. And so I took the time to thank them for doing that, and then I also asked, how's the Washington Middle School going? And they made it to 95 points, and they're very competitive, but because the work would not finish in this fiscal year, they're gonna be moved to fall, as Chris Isles briefed, and there's I can't promise anything, but there's a strong likelihood that it could see success as well. This was awarded because it was finished and it completed, and then money can be provided, but I thought that was really awesome, and plus the Roosevelt just looks cool. And then really a challenge is the trolley will roll on Saturday, and Dennis says we can't fill it up on the first lift, and I think we can do it. So we'll be down there. We'll have coming soon, we thanks for the sponsors, had a lot of great sponsors that'll have their plaques up inside of it and stuff, their little papers. But we'll have the route out, we'll have the map, all that good stuff, and that'll be rolling starting this Saturday. So
This Saturday?
This Saturday.
What
yeah.
time does it start?
And what time is the rollout?
Oh, you knew you'd ask me that, darn it. I want to be the first one on. What
Well,
time would you
how can
like
be the
it?
first one on if we don't know what time it is?
Well, because we're gonna load all up and.
That's because he's gonna be the first one on, I'll tell you.
I'll tell you what, I'll put that out tomorrow.
Okay.
In a text message? Yes.
Okay. And then I do have two other things. One, we have a Memorial Day weekend coming up, so I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday. And there is a Veterans Memorial Service at 10 a.m. Monday at Clinton Lawn Cemetery. So with that, is there anybody else? Councilmember O'Neill?
And on June 3rd, on Saturday, I'll have my open forum. We won't have a meeting before that, so the open forum will be on June 3rd at the Erickson Center, 9:30 to 11.
And if there's no one else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Hey, Cody, we're
Your wife this week.
doing like
Someone's gonna be shot. Boyfriend.